Hey guys, so per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. So earlier I asked a few of you on Twitter, I'm doing an alt video, what do you want to see? So here are those requests, plus a few of my own charts that I found. And all these charts are from Poloniex in alphabetical order. I fully expect an alt red wedding because Bitcoin will pump on quarterly futures open. It has the past 5 times. I don't think it won't do that again. So other than that, I'm the most unbiased as far as alts are concerned. I don't normally trade alts. I've traded DOGE and LTC in the past, and Cryptsy, RIP. I've just heard of some of these alts today. I generally hate all alts equally, and I know I'm going to lose some of you towards the end of this, so I'll just say now. Don't forget to like, dislike, subscribe, share, donate, hit me up on Twitter, Telegram. I don't know how long this is going to be because I got a ton of charts, ton of alts. I'll let you know which of these excite me. Everything's going to be in the description below. Let's get started. So I'll do various time frames, various cloud settings. Most of this is going to be pretty simple as far as fibs and cloud. I didn't want to get anything too crazy, anything too subjective. I just wanted to put a cloud on some charts and see what's going on, talk about volume, talk about some oscillators. Although with some of these altcoins, the oscillators may or may not mean anything at all. So some of these charts don't have oscillators on them. Doesn't mean I forgot to put it on, it just means I took it off because I didn't think it was relevant. Alright, so weekly black coin. Remember, alphabetical order. This doesn't excite me at all other than this volume spike. I don't know enough about alts to really know what this means or if it's significant. It appears to be significant from a traditional TA standpoint. You know, who's buying here and why? Question I'd be asking. As far as a long entry, I'd be waiting till we hit this prior resistance again, and we sort of establish resistance becoming support. So you'll hear me say a bunch of like TA cloud type stuff throughout all this over and over again. So that's A, because that's what I see, and B, that's because what I use on Bitcoin, and C, it's ubiquitous on any market, any time frame, and D, those are some things that you should try to incorporate as far as, you know, trying to become technically sound as a trader. So yeah, obviously you don't need cloud or anything really to understand that these are wicks in this zone. There's a ton of resistance, there's a ton of selling. These are selling order blocks, short order blocks, if you're ICT person, whatever. So if this hits here and establishes this as the floor, again, I'd expect this to rise up to here. One thing to know about the cloud, if you've never seen any of my cloud videos, any flat line on the cloud is a target for the price. It's generally a flat line because it's a 50% fib at some time point, and there'll be better examples of that. So Blackcoin TLDR doesn't excite me until we hit this level as a floor. Bitcoin Dark on weekly, lots of volume, didn't really move anywhere. Cloud's starting to turn over bullish. We're also entering the cloud, which is bullish. You can expect, again, long, I didn't draw it on this one, but any long flat Kumo is a target. So this and this would both be targets. Again, why are these targets? These are 50% fibs at some point in time. Here to here is a 50% fib, so that's a target. Here to here, 50% fib, that's a target. And you can see we've already even hit that once. You could even argue that this is a bull flag. If we look on the daily, Bitcoin Dark, again, I drew a bull flag in. We didn't get a Kijun bounce on the 50% fib here. Kijun bounce would mark a bullish continuation. Kijun is the heavy red line here. On some of these charts, you'll see a bounce on that, and I'll point that out when I see it. And again, I'm looking at like 50% fib, this zone, not rocket science, horizontal resistance here. Your long would be a floor when this is established as a floor. BitShares weekly, this somewhat excites me. There is a bit of a falling wedge action going on. The targets would be here and here as far as flat Kumo or Kijun is concerned. You can see we've even already hit this zone. Now you might tell me as we go through this, oh, this is all hindsight trading, this means nothing. Well, that's all anybody has as far as TA is concerned, okay? So you need to use the hindsight for some foresight. All right, so again, any flat zone on the cloud is a target, okay? So these are all your targets as far as resistance is concerned on your way up. You'll notice most of these alts are underneath the cloud, signifying a bear trend. That's no shocker. Bitcoin's been in a long uptrend. Another thing, coupled with the falling wedge here, I'm marking pseudo bull div. Okay, that means the price is getting lower and the strength is also getting lower. So that means the bears are getting less strong as far as pushing this down, even though price is moving down. So that's known as a divergence. You'll see me marking those on a lot of these charts, bull div or bear div. So I'd add this to my watch list. It doesn't really excite me right now, but if we break Kijun, that would be our target right there, 2629. BitShares 4 hour, again, here's another great example. Cloud Mumbo Jumbo 101, edge to edge trade, flat Kumo. I'm looking for this as a level. Again, 50% fib. Something else to watch for on all these charts. W bottoms. Again, W bottom. Nothing really to mention here on RSI or MACD. Decred 4 hour. Never heard of this one until today. Doesn't excite me at all. Nothing really going on other than this diagonal trend line. This would be your excuse me. This would be your bull target as far as flat Kumo is concerned, and then this would be your next target. And you can see that sort of lines up with the diag. Definitely some heavy resistance in the 0.003 zone. Digibyte daily, somewhat exciting. We've had some volume on this. Again, Kumo breakout. This would be your first resistance. This is sort of a high probability because of the Kijun Kumo twist. So Kumo twist is where the support or resistance is very thin, meaning that's a high probability chance for a reversal. So you can see this has basically been flatlining for however many months, okay? So this would be your first target, and then your next target would be the flat Kumo 113. Next target would 163, and then probably your best long entry would be when 163 is established as the floor, not as resistance like here. So what you'll probably see is a bunch of wicks again, just like this, into this zone. So somewhat exciting, probably worth adding to the watch list. Hearns asked me about this one, not really sure why. DIEM, never heard of it. Again, these are your targets, same story. Here's our resistance, wait to go long until resistance is established as support. The reason these are targets is because they're all 50% fibs at some point in time. The immediate target would be 3. 3 sats, I think that is. Not on the watch list for sure. Dogecoin, interesting here. Something I kind of recognized on the weekly. It's had some nice pump cycles as far as like consolidation or retrace, and then to this pump to this 100 sat level basically. Currently it's in the 238 days of like consolidation or retrace. I really like 82 as the target. It's just like the high probability target. Now obviously you can close some or all of your long way before this if you want, or way after this if you want. Whenever I point out a certain level, I'm just saying that's a higher probability target than any target around it. So that's a zone where I'd say that's safe to close most of my long. Now it doesn't take rocket science again to see this is some heavy horizontal resistance. Really this whole zone from like 120 to 80, considering there hasn't been a weekly close since before 2015 in that zone, okay? So the probability of a weekly close in that zone now is very small. That certainly doesn't mean that we won't get a wick like this, a blow-off wick. But again, the probability of continuation is nil, essentially. 162, should something miraculous happen, would be the heavy resistance target, because it's 50% fib again from here to here. Daily Doge, kind of exciting, possible Kumo breakouts scenario going on soon. Kumo's still bearish. When this twists green over red, you'll see that signifies bullish cloud. Actually, for all these, I just realized I have the old cloud on here, but the new cloud will show you if it's bearish or bullish. It'll turn green or red. So again, these are my first immediate targets, 45 and 53. And what I'm saying is we'd get the Kumo breakout. Wait till this is established as the floor. Take it up to 82, 83, just like the weekly showed for the long close. Holding it above that, super questionable as far as probabilities are concerned. Take the safe trades. Don't risk capital on alts that you aren't sure on. That's me saying that, a non-alt trader, but that's what I'd do anyway. Here's ETC 4 hour. Kind of interesting. I think the floor right now is this zone here, just based on market structure. Whenever the cloud is like big and then thin and flat like this, that's a bottomy or toppy signal. Right now it's a bottomy signal because we're underneath the cloud. I'm just saying there's going to be a bullish twist soon. There's some sort of consolidation with the RSI going on. Kind of a div, not really. Lower lows, higher lows in the RSI. So that means it's leaning bullish over bearish. Your targets again would be some of these flat Kumos. Nothing too significant at this point, but I really think 382 fib is where you want to be looking as far as a long exit, long close. Here's ETH on the daily. Some previous TA, I was drawing out the this triangle consolidation we had. It had a beautiful Adam and Eve. That looked so ready to go, and then boom, hard fork. I think it was around this time, if not this day. So that happened, some jibbly-jambly stuff happened, and now we're back in the cloud. This is a really high probability target. ETH is also on my watch list as far as a long entry signal is concerned. It's in the cloud, so again, edge to edge trade. I don't know if I mentioned that yet. Looking for candles that close in the cloud, because there's a high probability that they will reach the other end of a cloud. So not only do we have edge to edge going on here, but we have the high probability flat Kumo equals magnet trade going on. It's also the previous top of this move, which is 50% fib from here to here. So there's a lot of confluence as far as resistance is concerned at the 233 level. Oscillators are telling me that they're ready. They're basically zeroed out at 50 or 0. Sufectum is probably one of the most exciting alt charts that I saw looking through all of these. I didn't actually see this first. Someone else did on YouTube, and they told me about it when I made my cup and handle video. So I think there's a pretty obvious cup and handle going on here. Generally, cup and handle is a bullish continuation pattern. If it was inverted, it would be a bearish continuation pattern. The general rule is you want a rounded cup with pullback to about the 50%, making the handle. So what I'm saying is your long entry, and since this is sort of slanted, they don't always have to be perfectly flat. So I was saying your long entry could be here. You're wanting to enter on volume, not just some piddly sideways crap. Because if you look at the ETH USD chart, there's a great example of a cup and handle textbook that just sort of went sideways for a little while and then broke out. So whatever you feel most comfortable with, but I think the case for the cup and handle is pretty good here. There's also tons of wiki stuff on the Kijun, so you can see this is an example of a Kijun bounce right here on near the 50% fib. So I'm going to call this cup and handle. When you're measuring the targets, you're taking the distance of the cup, the depth of the cup, and then bringing that up. I don't know if I drew this right. It doesn't look right to me. in any case, you just take this line, add it to the top of the cup, and that'll be your target. Another thing I like to do with the cup and handle is look at the fib extension, which is another zone of resistance. So if I'm looking at fib extensions from basically the beginning and now, I'm looking at super heavy resistance at 138, 132 level. So I'm saying close your long because it's probably not going to go higher than that, 1618. If it does, it's going to be some pullback wick blow off stuff. So again, whatever you're most comfortable with. I'm talking about high probability stuff here. So Factum, probably number one on the watch list as far as patterns and probability is concerned at the moment. Horizon, sorry. So Horizon, not really exciting. Some volume, everything's zeroed out, I guess. I'd wait for a long, as far as, again, Kumo edge to edge. Potentially to 61 from 37. I wouldn't really watch it though. Here's a great example of, you keep hearing me say Kumo edge to edge as well as flat Kumo. And I wanted to show you this because, again, this is why you trade the way you do on the cloud, because when you get a candle close into cloud, you can say there's a high probability that it will touch the other edge of the cloud, okay, which is, in this case, the 50% fib, so there was even more confluence for that as a target, and that's what happened. Obviously, this doesn't happen every time. It's not exactly on the 50% fib, but it's reason enough to open a trade, okay? So again, flat Kumo equals magnet. It's 50% of the previous move. It's drawn on the cloud as a flat line, and Kumo edge to edge. And the longer the flat line, the higher the probability that we will return to that zone, because as price just goes sideways, just in general, the higher the probability is that any given large candle will be retraced 50%. So here's LTC. What do I have to say about LTC? Well, nothing really that exciting. Again, just sort of flat line. Your targets would be here and here. I didn't label this, I don't know why, but it's about 170, let's say, and 80, let's say. Don't really believe it. Although the daily does look exciting as far as a bullish case. Again, I'm measuring consolidation periods just like DOGE. 37 days, 20 days, 20 days. So I expect this to sort of break out between now and 40 days. So now and twice as long from now. Here were bull divs I'm pointing out on both the RSI and the MACD. It's also a bull div currently if price doesn't go any lower, because we made a higher low in price and a lower low in RSI. There's also a bull div on the MACD. So your target would be the flat Kumo zone, which is 50% fib of the previous move, 0.78, 0078. And again, you have sort of the edge-to-edge thing, so it's similar to Horizon, where we had the edge-to-edge plus flat Kumo, so that adds to the confluence, it adds to the probability. I'd be careful at this candle wick as far as resistance is concerned. So Litecoin does excite me on the daily, so that's probably worth adding to your watch list. All right, second half, MAID on the weekly. Somewhat of a cup and handle, again the same reasoning. Rounded bottom, we sort of pull back. Your entry would be somewhere around here as far as this diag is concerned. Target would be based on the depth of the candle, cup, somewhere to 36. The fib extension in this case is much higher than that, so probably not worth adding to the watch list at this point in time, but definitely worth putting on the back burner, considering the pattern is at least here. So that's MAID. On the weekly and on the daily, you can see again just sort of some of that market structure a little bit better. You could just go long when this confirms as continuation, but I really wait until, again, there's this resistance here, lots of resistance in this order block from the 618 to the 764. Your best bet is probably a long after the 764 is confirmed as support. Nautilus, surprisingly, was a pretty exciting chart to look at on the weekly. There's some evidence for a long-term 3 drives. I haven't done a 3 drive video yet, but basically it's where you get 3 uptrends or 3 down moves, 3 trending candles. Each are successively higher or lower than the last. So sometimes the third drive or the second drive can be predicted based on the fib extensions. That's why I'm saying third drive potentially up here at 26, 27 area. A great way of knowing when these drives are ready to pull back is based on divs. You can see great examples of that on the RSI here. Massive div on this here. Obviously, you can't see that until the candle closes, so it might not be the best bet on the weekly, but definitely something if you're still long, at the close of the candle, just close the trade, because the probability of continuation after a bull div like that is very, very small. Here's Nautilus on the daily. So again, I'm looking at flat Kumos. I'm saying there's support here, there's resistance here. Why is there resistance here? Well, it's also the 50% fib. There's also tons of resistance here. This is the previous, I think it's the previous uptrending stab, maybe not, but it lines up perfectly with the 382 of this entire move. And just in general, again, based on the 50% retrace principle, I'm expecting this to go from here to here pretty easily. So it's also actually pretty oversold right now. There's a TK C-clamp, TK disequilibrium. So not long at the moment, but definitely worth adding to the watch list based on the daily. Questionable bull divs here as well. Volume's kind of blah, but worth looking at later, I think. Shadow daily. Shadow looked interesting. Definitely a bull type flag, bull flag, something going on here. Kijun bounce was a good sign for bullish continuation. I mentioned that earlier as far as a sign of bullish continuation on another chart. Another example of reversal is tweezer top, tweezer bottom. So that coupled with the Kijun bounce suggests together that there's good evidence for bullish continuation. Shadow on the 4 hour, very interesting. Double tweezer top with a bear div. I'm saying get off that long right quick when you see that, because that is super, super bearish. Double tops are always bearish in general, but when you have a div double top, double tweezer top, yeah, super bearish. And I'd wait for a re-entry as far as your long until the TK lines recross, if they do, so that would be the blue line or the red line here. And again, you can see flat Kumo equals magnet, 50% retrace. In this case, it came down to the 382, whatever. But the high probability trade would be, the tweezer top to the 50% of the whole move. Viacoin, I just wanted to add this to the list because Drac stepped down and what the hell is that kid's name? Romano took over. So I just wanted to take a look at that. Super unexciting chart. Potentially bottoming on the weekly, I don't know, but 50% fib of this whole move is 351. So something crazy should happen, like a PND. It's a PND wick candle up to 351. I can see that. Viacoin on the daily looks very bottomy. Again, you'll see a big cloud, thin, and then just flat line. There's been a lot of volume here, July, September. So I don't know if that's a PND setup. Someone who trades alts regularly would have to tell me, but worth watching on the secondary shit tier watch list maybe. Veracoin, kind of interesting. Worth watching further. I'm saying there's a coinsolidation going on here. Massive triangle, massive volume consolidation, huge MACD consolidation. The target would be the 50% fib of this entire move. 34 to 30, whatever. I don't know how to, I'm not used to this sats business, but anyway, 308 would be your target as far as your high probability first resistance of breaking out of this triangle based on fibs. Vericoin on the daily, I noticed there was a flat Kumo again, 50% fib. There's also TK disequilibrium, C-clamp, saying it's oversold, which is a reversal sign. There's bull divs, there's a falling wedge. So I really like 1, 2, 3 as a target for Vericoin based on the daily. Definitely add that to the watch list. It's probably the second or third most exciting out of all of these. Let me just write this down, Vericoin. Okay. Vertcoin, super unexciting. Your resistance would be 10 or 150. I don't know. There's been volume on this on the weekly. Again, you're looking at, if you're trying to look for safest long entries, you're looking at something with the least resistance as far as, you know, from here to here versus this piddly crap in here. So certainly you could go long at the Kumo breakout with closes here and here if you trade lower time frames, but you know, what you're really looking for is this craziness, P&D type stuff to 151, maybe even 70 as far as just this triangle is concerned. Anytime you have a triangle point, that's always a support resistance line, so probably around 60, 70 as far as the long entry is concerned, long close is concerned. Monero, another super interesting one. Again, I'll put that on the second or third most interesting as far as the watch list is concerned. Here's the 3 drives I keep talking about. There's a bear div on the volume, bear div on the RSI, not so much on the MACD. So here's a good example of why it's important to look at sort of multiple things. Definitely always look at volume for alts. You probably don't need me to tell you that. But RSI for sure. I trust RSI over MACD when I'm considering divs. So what I'm saying is it's a bearish 3 drive. It's called a bearish 3 drive because after the 3rd drive it pulls back. But it's kind of counterintuitive because it still pumps 3 times. So I'm saying there's a bearish 3 drive here. There was a bear div here. Get out of your long. Definitely buy this candle, you know. Very easily you could have seen that and gotten out. And I think I even mentioned that. I know I posted something on Twitter about it. Other people are posting pullback stuff on Twitter as well. Right now I'm saying put your bids on the Kijun, which is a 50% of this move. You're looking for a Kijun bounce, saying bullish consolidation, which I've mentioned in previous charts. So we jump down to the 4-hour, another super interesting potential setup. So here you'll see the 3 drives again. I'm pointing out flat Kumo equals magnet. I'm pointing out Kumo edge to edge. So your target for, if you're currently short, would be 50% fib again of this move. I'm also saying this is TK cross here. If you were still long post bear div and 3 drive, you definitely would have closed, should have closed on the TK cross if you're using cloud. Again, all this stuff is hindsight, but you're using it as foresight currently for everything else. So that brings us to the potential cup and handle forming. I know it's super, super early, but if you go back to the ETH-USD chart, I posted about this on Twitter. You can see it on the chart. Beautiful 3 drives into cup and handle, into almost the fib extension. So all this is, you know, super long term probably, but it's on the 4-hour, so maybe within the month or 2 you could see this. I don't know, October. This isn't necessarily a timestamp as far as when I expect this to happen, but just keep an eye out for it. So again, maybe secondary watch list, take a look at it next month. You could trade this whole cup if you wanted, as far as, you know, your long entry here, your close here, your short to 764, 618, which are the fibs of these whole moves, but you can always fib out this cup, and then your long entry would be from here to the measured cup target and or the fib extension. Don't expect it to go past the cup target or the fib extension. I'm saying close this. So again, long-term cup and handle potential, ETH was similar, 3 drives into cup and handle. Last couple here, Ripple. Fundamentally, I think Ripple is garbage, so I'm probably super biased on this chart. I think it's super flatlining. I will never buy Ripple ever in my life, but if you're looking for targets on a long, 23 and 44 would be those targets. Again, horizontal resistance, 50% fib, horizontal resistance. And on the daily for Ripple, again, you're looking at this horizontal resistance, so you don't want to hold a long past that. And I'm saying you'll probably bounce from here to here pretty quick, and then from here to here should that go from resistance to support, just like I've mentioned on several other charts. There's actually a nice high probability flat Kumo magnet, flat Kumo equals magnet sort of situation going on here to 138. So if you're a fan of Ripple, that's what I'd shoot for currently as the long. If you've held out this far in the video, congratulations, you've made it to the end. It was fun. I'll do it again. Hopefully I'll do it once a week. If I missed anything, if I said anything wrong, if I crapped all over your favorite alt, let me know in the comments. Let me know anything in the comments. I'm expecting all the lurkers to come out and give me some comments on alts, what I can learn. Hit me up on Twitter and Telegram. Shout out to the Coin Farm on Telegram, the altcoin market discussion leader, and as well as This Is News, Dre, Coin Trader Guy, Heavy Alts, very good people. Heavy Alt Traders, very good people. All right, take care.